So usually on this channel, I like to keep it kind of light. I like to talk about the fun things, the positives of transitioning, how good your life can be. But this one kind of sucks. So if you don't know, or you're not from the UK, or you're just not clued up, I'm sorry, I'm too bisexual to sit properly. The UK government, in its dying breath before a general election, has banned puberty blockers. Puberty blockers are medications that block puberty. They have banned them for under 18s in public healthcare, the NHS, which is funded by, taxpayers, and private healthcare. So you cannot get puberty blockers through any means if you are under 18. It is an emergency ban. It's going from the 3rd of June to the 3rd of September of this year. After the 4 months are done, there is no guarantee that it will roll back and you will be able to get your prescription. Obviously, it might, and the new government might decide, we're going to reverse this, you can get your medication, it's all fine. But currently, Labour in the UK, pretty much a lot of parties, not very pro-trans, especially for children. But you cannot have a new prescription, you cannot be prescribed it by a doctor, private or public, and it's just, honestly, was a little bit scary because the difference between that, it came into effect really quickly. It was passed within hours, and then it was made law 3 days after the bill, whatever it's called in the UK, dropped and you could read it. Scary. The difference between that being for adults and children was literally just one line, just under 18s. They could have done it with adults. Obviously, there's rules like European human rights, etc. But, this government is kind of scary, and I feel like it could have easily just have happened, and, there's nothing you can really do about it. HillaryCast made a report about how gender medicine for under 18s is very shaky, and there's minimal evidence, and there's not enough studies, and it does not help, and it can be dangerous. That isn't right. There are tons of studies on how helpful and how important this medication is for people and how safe it is long-term, but they are not in the way that HillaryCast wanted. They are not in randomized clinical trials. It's not really something that can benefit from randomized clinical trials because you can't just give random cis children puberty blockers. That is unethical. One thing that I hate about this situation is that the medications, the puberty blockers, are legal for under 18s if you're being treated for anything other than gender dysphoria or gender incongruence, which are the official transgender diagnoses. So if you have a certain condition that needs puberty blockers for whatever reason and you're cis, you can have it. But if you're trans, no, you're not allowed. There's already so many hoops you have to jump through to even get close to medication that it's ridiculous to think that somebody could just stumble into it. If you have your parent or guardian's consent, that should definitely be enough because, the parents are most likely going to do enough to make sure that that child is ready. And then you have to do all the other things. You have to have an assessment, you have to have a psychologist tell you that you're transgender. It's a lot. And to have that result in just now you can't because you're under 18 is just insane. If you are lucky enough to have figured yourself out and supported enough to be able to go and get medication before you've hit puberty, you are in the best position to lead a life with as minimal difficulties as possible, which is very rare for a trans person. And they're just ripping that away. Watching yourself go through puberty with the knowledge that you aren't this correct gender is just awful. Now, this whole thing is very messy and very politically charged, and I don't really want to get into it too deeply. Obviously, this sucks, and puberty blockers save children's lives. The last thing I want is for trans youth in the UK specifically, to feel like there is absolutely no hope. Because there definitely, there is, and don't let this, be the thing that ruins you finding yourself, because I'm a lot happier than I used to be by 1,000,000 times, and I would do it 100 times over. So even though it was kind of hard doing it post-puberty, I can't really explain how much better I feel actually finding myself, and that still happens whether it's pre or post puberty. You still do get that kind of feeling of being more yourself. This is where we get to the positive part, the nice part. I wanted to talk about how you can be happy and thrive and successful and love yourself transitioning after puberty, so post-puberty. I transitioned at 22, 2 months or 1 month, I can't remember, before I turned 23. So effectively 23. I started taking HRT a few months before I turned 23, so I was 23. I'm now 26. Oh my god, I'm 26. I didn't look like this before. I didn't think I would ever look like this because I went through puberty as a boy. But I didn't think that I would get to this stage. HRT is pretty much entirely magic. Our bodies are very susceptible to hormones. They take them on very well and they do a big old bunch of changes. The changes go pretty much the same way as regular puberty. So it can take like 10 years for regular puberty. It can take like 10 years for second puberty. You get your most within 3 years. That's pretty common for everybody. But within 5 to 10, you will still be seeing lots and lots of different changes. And with a little bit of extra work, like exercise or cosmetic things like lip filler, like, you know, a lot of women do my age, just because it's cool, you can get to a place that you really feel comfortable in. You can very successfully transition as an adult. You can be happy, you can be thriving, and it's not the be-all and end-all. If you are genuinely watching this and you're like being denied this puberty blocker and you're worried that you're gonna, you know, not be able to successfully transition, I want to offer a tiny little bit of insight, and hopefully if you're watching this and you have transitioned as an adult, you can kind of back me up on this, that it's not the end of the world. It's not as bad as it maybe seems. I am very happy, and, you know, obviously transitioning before puberty would have been really, really cool. You know, it would have made life a little bit easier for me, but I don't think that it's affected me massively. I think that a lot of my issues are in my own head. They are brainworms, and I would probably have them, I definitely have them, if I transitioned, you know, as a teenager or as a child. I do genuinely hate talking about, like, the negative sides of transitioning because there's so much negativity out there all the time anyway. I really want this channel to be like fun and light and really just show that you can live like a normal, happy life and enjoy the positives of being a trans person and just laugh about all the silly stuff. So I will try and focus on that in the future. I don't like to talk about major events on my Instagram because it really does just feel like it's everywhere. It feels like, you know, the negative stuff is everywhere, the political stuff is everywhere, and you really can't get away from it. And yeah, I just want to live a normal life. I want you to live a normal life. I want us to have that, like, fun little, like, haha, silly, let's laugh about chases or whatever. Like, be a community, but in a positive way. I probably will not talk about this stuff more unless it gets, like, a good response, unless people kind of, I don't know, feel that the information is important enough to talk about. But realistically, I'd rather do fun stuff, and I think you'd probably rather me do fun stuff. So next time it'll be like a video on pink outfits and thigh highs and how to overthrow the British government. Thank you for watching. Ah.